this property 4 years ago and have been developing. The house has been doubled its size, and we reclad it, re-roofed it and double glazed it and all that sort of thing. So that gave us plenty of opportunity then to get into the garden. Out the front here we had that Japanese maple, and the bird's nest fern over there were the original, and everything else we've planted since. The privet hedge, we've stolen the idea of the spiral from a garden, beautiful garden we saw in Mole Creek in Tasmania some years ago, and it just creates interest with the showing off the sun sculpture over there. And this Chinese, I believe it's Chinese wisteria, which is just coming into its full bloom.
Very good.
When we first bought the property, the house ended up further, and just here was a 6 metre square shed. And the only reason we sort of kept the shed was to store stuff in, and the minute the house was completed, the shed went, and that left us with a very flat garden. So the soil that came from the stumps of the new building was pushed up into this hill, and we put a retaining wall around, and that sort of created a bit of interest. We got the hill there, but unfortunately it's created its own problems because there's a lot of clay there, and we're madly trying to build the soil up to be enrich it, you know, so that the plants survive.
Sue and I have been here for about 27 years now. We came here looking for a property that could possibly develop into a garden. And when I discovered a permanent creek, that sold it for me. And so it just hasn't really grown to a plan. I've not put anything down on paper. I love collecting plants. And that's what I've just got lots and lots of plants I've stuck into the ground and moved them around as the years have gone by, and it's developed. And yeah, it's just a wonderful place to be, just for therapy, relaxation, and to show visitors too. So I'm English born, and you can probably tell by looking at this, that cottage feel about the garden, which is what I'm very much into. And yeah, so I've just got lots of various plants in the garden, but one of the things that really stands out for me is this tree right here, which we call the tree of heaven. It's the Chinese cedar, and that glows pink in the spring, and it changes colour to a beautiful chartreuse colour, to this colour you're seeing now. And that would have to be one of my favourite trees in the garden. Just a beautiful tree. As you can see, a lovely rhododendron over here. Crab apples, magnolia, Japanese maple. The beautiful smoke bush over here, which just glows on a dewy morning with the sun shining through it. Absolutely glorious. So the veggie patch, as you can see, I'm going for the raised beds here. Keep the bunnies at bay. We've got quite a few berries and things going across the back there. I've got the brassicas coming on, the strawberries, celery's in, beetroot's in, the carrots are in, corn's coming up in here, peas are coming up over here, we've got lettuces, and yeah, we should do well this year. Long border, not quite up to the standard of many of the long borders I saw in England, which is why I wanted a long border. But anyway, this is the long border with lots of perennials and so on through it. And yeah, just really coming into its own at the moment. The foxgloves, as you can see, some salvias, the granny's bonnets just self-feed all the time. Eupatorium over the back here. The lovely Amelanchier here turns a beautiful red colour in the autumn. This little tree here hasn't been in there for long. And we come up and I've got a couple of the friends obelisks here, which I've got some young clematis growing over at the moment. They're just starting to develop. Down to the beautiful ground cover of the dead nettle, or the aluminium plant as they call it down here. Lovely ground cover. And as you can see, lots of iris through the garden. The lilac here is a lovely white colour, starting to go over now. Okay, just here is the what we call wedding arbour. Two of my children got married right here in front of this. And that was one of the reasons I really got going on the garden, was when I knew they were going to get married, and they said they want to get married in the garden. So we made a real effort, and they stood right here. And congregation was out here. We got some old pews from the church and set out here, and had a lovely wedding ceremony, or two lovely wedding ceremonies right here. Now I must tell you about this tree here. This is the it's a rainforest tree, an Australian native called the Toon australis, or the white cedar. It's been there about 20 years, and it's absolutely, it has to be my favourite tree in the garden. It's just absolutely glorious and stunning. It does drop branches occasionally, but as you can see, the new leaf colour is just glorious. No flowers, just a very beautiful, beautiful tree. This is one of our premier spots to sit. I bought this bench just for Susie, so we can look out across the landscape there to the paddocks in front of us, with the cows grazing, and across the hills, over the creek, through these magnificent gum trees, and just really enjoy the peace. As Daryl said, in the castle, houses serenity. I think it used to be called Ligularia at one stage, Ferrugium now, and this is one called Leopard's Bane for obvious reasons. Brightens up the darkest spot under here beautifully. There's quite a lot of azaleas in here, which of course aren't in flower any longer. This is a plant I just adore. First saw this in the Lost Gardens of Heligan in Cornwall, and the leaves on the plants there were literally 4 or 5 times the size of these. You could hold a party underneath the leaves there, and look at the size and even here. It's called a Gunnera manicata, or the giant rhubarb. Just loves it by the side of the water.